Hello, my name is Daven Farley, and I will be doing an analysis from Moby Dick. Do a quick synopsis of Moby Dick. It follows the main character Ishmael on the whaling ship Pequod, and he is sometimes overshadowed by his captain Arnab, who is on a vengeful search to kill Moby Dick the whale. This leads the ship through perilous dangers and even destruction. In analyzing Moby Dick, we're saying how it relates to the English 231 course, where we look at old American literature and look at its themes and ideas to figure out how it was like to live at the time or events at the time. Moby Dick does this in two ways, one of which is from Millman's own experience of whaling. It's actually presented through the story and provides good detail even about the industry. And two, the story is filled with symbolisms, themes, and allusions that point to key ideas and controversies at the time. The details surrounding whaling was actually inspired by Herman Melville's own experience on a whaling ship. Even the story from Moby Dick was inspired by a legend heard about the ship Essex getting destroyed by a whale. It's also important to note that the industry of whaling was huge at the time, brought a lot of money, since it was used for oil when kerosene didn't exist. There are actually quite a bit of examples of Herman Melville's experience within the book. One, of course, is the diverseness of this crew. The task depended on strength and not race, so you saw Islanders, Native Americans, and African Americans within his story. Plus, the danger was also present. Whales would destroy ships and bring a lot of casualties, like on the ship in Moby Dick. And sharks would often follow boats, as counted in the story, and one of the characters got so sick from an illness he thought he was going to die, so he made his own coffin. There's also a lot of information about whales itself. There's a whole chapter actually dedicated to cooking and eating whale, and information about migration patterns and aggression. An important location was also shown in the book, which is New Bedford, which is the whaling capital of the world at the time and brought in most money per capita at the time. Moby Dick is filled to the brim with metaphors and symbolisms, and a lot of them show jabs at society and controversial topics. That's kind of what alludes to its popularity. And I'm going over three that I've picked up on. One, of course, is duties and obsessions. Arnab's vengeful search to take down Moby Dick at the dismay of his crew is obviously an obsession, but it also tags along in a little of duty. How far will you obey a leader? In this case, he had three subordinates. One of them was Starbuck. Even when they were in perilous danger or in almost death, he still followed him despite him being worried. Here's a quote: "Against the wind he now steers from the one open jaw, and I misdoubt me that I disobeyed my God in obeying him." This shows a theme of blind duty, and even takes jabs at obeying leadership blindly within the first chapter. But if you think about the time period of around the Industrial Revolution, where people moving from their individual owned farms to corporations and even Native American removal acts, this idea of the authors is pretty crucial to the time. There are also many who believe that the Pequod ship is a symbolism for America. It's a large ship on the sea, full with crew members who are all pushing for individual goals, led by one leader, and leadership spread through the other three subordinates. It even mirrors and mimics somewhat of American culture at the time and controversies. There's a quote right here: "Paralleling the political and economic structure of America, novels diarize the inherent contradictions of slave-owning, expansion of nation, and a symbolic ship that oppresses yet relies on the skills and labors of its racially diverse crew." So Arnab, or a leader, pulls the nation or ship to success or doom, aka Moby Dick. There's also other notable mentions where the Pequod ship is actually kind of a reference to a Native American tribe. And around the time where the Native Americans pushed out, that's pretty important. In conclusion, The blend of information about whaling and the constant symbols and metaphors throughout the story present us with an idea of what America was like at the time, as such as industries and social atmosphere. Most notably important about Moby Dick is that the symbolism presented in the story can be interpreted differently between each person, which provides different aspects or ideas about America at the time. That's all. Thank you for watching and listening.